So CSS is something that is pretty hard and it takes a lot of time. And the problem is Internet Explorers, Microsoft, they're kind of weird. They have their own ways of reading CSS that's completely different from others. Well, not completely different, but some are different. So one website that looks fine on Google Chrome and Firefox may look weird on Internet Explorer because Microsoft decided to read things differently than the standards. So it's good practice to check your website on different browsers and different versions of the browsers as well. It's kind of annoying, but this is how it is. Now, one thing that you should do, this was probably a lot, and you may have to go back and I would ask you to do the exact same thing that I did and play around with it. But again, W3 School has a really good resource, Learn CSS. Okay, go through each of that tutorial. See how you can change the background color. We played around with that. You can align text. Okay, there are a lot of things that you can do. Okay, you can tell anything in the HTML to look like certain way by using CSS. Okay, so you can use backgrounds, you can change, the fonts, this how anything looks at all. You can change it, okay, using this. So even tables, how tables look. Okay, and it's the exact same syntax. So just go through these, play around with it, and take some time just copying and pasting and just playing around with different CSS. The best way to learn is to create your own website, and you have put in your mind how you're gonna make things work. And before you do any CSS, put it group certain items together using division ID or division class. Okay, group them together using sketch it out on a notebook or whatever. And then don't even use any CSS, just group it all together. And once you group it together, create a CSS file and just play around with it to make it look like how you want. Okay, and there's some other stuff that you can go over, but go through this tutorial one by one and play around with changing different fonts. There's also position tag that you will learn about. This explains about what the margin padding is. So that one's really good. I probably didn't explain it very well. So if that didn't make any sense, you can read this. But you can also have certain things just placed on certain positions no matter what. And that's called position absolute. And you can specify where it's going to put it, whether to put it here, 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 anywhere. Okay, so that might be interesting. But just go around. Pick a website, design a website, that you want to create, and see how you can use CSS to make it look the way that you want. Okay? All right, sounds good. And then let me show you another thing that's pretty cool. Okay, so using Firefox, they have a plugin called Edit CSS, and let me show you how that works. So I have the newest version of Firefox. This is a little bit confusing. I went to Firefox and add-ons and just type in Edit CSS. This is one of the best tools to learn how CSS works. Okay, so here it is. Oh, I guess I already got it installed. For you, just download it. And then let me go to that website that I just created, the demo one. Okay. Alright, so here it is, right? I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. I can right click after I get that program installed, and there's that Edit CSS. I can go here and see all that CSS that I had pops up right there, right? So now instead of, for example, I want to make the division, the width 760, let's say I want to see what it will look like if it is 460. Or 560, 660, 860. Instead of 2 border, I want 3 pixel. Okay? Or I want 33 pixel. And padding, I want 50 pixel. Okay? Instead of 10 or 20 or 0 pixel. Okay? I want to put different margins. Okay? And I want to try, instead of silver, I want to do orange. And so forth. You can play around with all this. And this is not going to save it to your server. It's just going to change how it looks on your browser.